Well, good morning, everyone. No lead-in video today because it's not working and we haven't had time to sort out another one. So I'll try and run it at the end. But we continually get a black screen there. I see it running here, but there you go. And for some reason, this has popped onto the wrong system, and I don't know how to get that off. So I'll check that in a minute with the tracker. And we're going to talk about a couple of things. It's Saturday night your time in Europe, Saturday afternoon, or no, Saturday night in Europe. So where's that in America? Saturday late, very late, something like that. I forget now. Anyway, I'm going to just talk about 580's for sale because it's quite a subject at the moment. A lot of people building boats, and there's a lot of people planning to build boats, but there's a whole undercurrent of people waiting to see 580s coming up for sale. And we got some ideas on how we're going to manage that because some things have to change on the way it's done. And I think it's we will do our bit as a promoter of the class, and it's this, that, and the other to make sure the boats are right. And I'll explain the process of that and so on. So now I'm just waffling a bit, not wanting to start too early because there's numbers are building pretty quickly on who's there and wants to watch everything go live. So that's the story there, and we've had a sudden change of plans. We're heading back to Europe because I've got a few things to do there. I don't know whether I've mentioned that before. So we're here in Fiji for the next few weeks only, and then we've got to head back. So we'll see how that pans out. Yeah, everything's looking really good. They're having fun, sailing across in really cool conditions. So it couldn't be better at the moment. Long may it last. And there's some tactical stuff going on. There's these little races within the race, so that's kind of fun. And so on. So g'day, Jonathan. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll waffle on a bit here, Jonathan. I saw the Ocean Sailor channel, and it was honestly, it was nice that they're promoting Jasmine and this, that, and the other. But this, why would we share it? We probably could, but there's so many things we can share. It brings up an interesting point. We get quite a few, people lobbying to. Can you share this on the channel? Can you share that on the channel? And our first reaction is boom. We hold off a minute. And we certainly don't, we very rarely share other media, right, onto the channel. This is an interesting conversation. Mainly because some of it's not really quite relevant. Some of it's a waste of time because it's nothing new in it. Everything that's been there before has been discussed, and some interviewers are more switched on than others, and some have got an ulterior motive for being there, and all this, that, and the other. So we had a look at that one, but it didn't. To be honest, like I love cracking yachts, and I love people that are passionate, this, that, and the other, but we just don't want to repeat the whole thing again. And there wasn't a whole heap of new stuff in there that we saw. But anyway, we'll see. We might share it, but they asked us to put it up, and we get a lot of that, and some of it we do, some of it we don't. But it's I can summarise that little statement by saying that we get quite a bit of media written about the event, and we get quite a bit of quite a lot of podcasts, and we get all sorts of stuff going up there, and they all come to us and want us to repeat it, but some of it's just more of the same. So we don't necessarily just stick it up just for the sake of sticking it up, Anyway, so that's the quick answer on that one, but we'll see. We got a few people there now, so let's get onto the track, and then we'll talk about other things, including this shot here, which was really interesting. A couple of interesting things happened there, so we'll talk about that. Anyway, you're on the tracker, and now I've got to change this because I can't. That's too small. It's not doing what it's meant to do, and I can't get it off of here. So I might have to call in Jane on this one. We don't want that. We don't want that. But I've got a small one here. Why is it doing that? Otherwise, you won't be able to see the tracker. That's dead boring, and I don't want to start off on something. on. Excuse me for a minute while I try. For some reason, it's locked over into this thing. I'm gonna just try something here. Sorry about this, everybody. Every now and then we get a glitch. I've got a big screen there, but you're getting a little screen back here. I'll come back again. Bloody hell. I think the only way I can do this is to shut it down. Jane, can you have a look at this? It's not allowed. Sometimes we get a glitch in the system, and it's very frustrating. I'm locked onto this screen format, but I can't get it off, so it's giving a small.
Because you got too many things.
It doesn't usually work. It has nothing to do with it. This is happening live, everybody. Sorry about that. That's just the video trailer. You just won't let me change the screen format. No, that one might do. Okay, it's screen. Okay, thank you. Oop, we're in business, so you're on the tracker, and now I am coming on the tracker. Okay, we're underway. Boom. So they're making good progress, pretty good speed. They're on track. They're all, doing sort of their 120s, and we're popping up even greater. So they're on track to how far are they from Thursday Island? Let's see, roughly 1,000 miles a week. So it's 8 days from now. So that's pretty good. So anyway, we'll see. So pick it up here, drop in the weather, and here we go. Changing. Here it comes. Okay, and I'll get the grids in. All right. We'll start off down the back here with Christian. He's the other side of this light wind area coming up very shortly, so that may also put him in a not a good position for the next day or two. But then he might hit these southerlies coming, which could push him along quite nicely. But anyway, at the moment, Christian is moving along okay, doing 4.7 knots and made a 107-mile day. But he is a long way south compared to the others. And to give you an idea, he is the fleet's now split over 300 nautical miles, and that's certainly out on your own, to say the least. Anyway, he's having a great time. He's doing some great videos, so that's all fun. Mark's kicking in there, doing okay, 5 knots, keeping up with the fleet. And Ayrton, tail end of Charlie for that group, doing 4.1 knots. It's obviously been a bit light overnight, but still managed a 107-mile day, which is good. Gary coming along next, 3.9 knots. You can see he's actually in a soft spot, 116-mile day. And here goes this fleet. Yeah, you can see there's this soft spot coming over the fleet. So that affects their speed. Jasmine doing 3.6 is slowing down in the last 4 hours. So we're doing a bit better than that in the previous report. I saw that this morning. 118-mile day, so she's been moving quite well up until now. So slowing down. And Eric doing 4.2, 122-mile day, all good. And Adam, 3.7 knots, 118-mile day. And where did we go? I thought, Yeah, Gary and Adam were having a bit of a go, but they've separated a bit. Gary's dropping down south for whatever reason. Josh, what's going on here? Josh trying to get up over the top, but that's always risky business here. Now, the short story is you can see here, even though he's been sailing really fast, tactically, we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. But if I go for that, since that's the last 8 hours, he's only really done about 25 miles or so. Let's say 24 hours for simplicity's sake, moving forward in the last 8 hours, right? Because he's gone at an oblique angle to the course, and that's the sailing towards the mark. That only gives you over 8 hours, 8 fours 5.83's at 24. So he's only averaged 3 knots going towards the finish line. However, it's a tactical move to obviously get over the light winds coming. And so that's why he's done it. And it's, we'll see how it pans out. But you can see all of a sudden Jacob's moved ahead. He's in the last 8 hours, he's probably done, let's see, I can't quite see if I pick this up. Where's his, I can't quite see it, it's about there. So let's say it's about there. No, it's very hard to detect. It might be about there. He's done about 30 miles. So he's taken 5 miles out maybe on Josh. But anyway, Jacob might be sailing into no wind. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. But there's a few people with the same idea. You can see Renault is heading north as quick as he can. And that may have some implications for Kerry, because he's already up north. So this is where he may pay off. But it's not showing it right now. Okay, so Josh, 111 mile day and making 3.9 knots right now. Jacob's doing 3.7, 118 mile day. We did Adam Peeler. Jacob's chasing Peeler, 123 mile day. So moving away slowly, 4.1 knots. Kerry, 5.2, 132 mile day. Very nice. And boy, Daniels on the hammer might be very close to taking over the lead, but Renault is going north. Maybe Dan was sleeping, he didn't see that move. He might have decided to cover him, or he might just decide to hold his own. 6.1 knots, 138 mile day. I'd say they got some current kick there. And Renault's 6.5 knot average. That's not bad for the last 4 hours. Excuse me. That's pretty cool. And 136 mile day. So they're certainly moving. Let's have a look at a couple of things. Okay, Renault's still in the lead. He's got 400, just forget about the 8,000, simplify the numbers, distance to the finish. So 496.7 to the finish. And, oh, look at that. Dan is 498.2, right? So only a couple of miles in it. That's kind of interesting. Just to remind me again, 496.7, 496. 548, so 50 miles behind. Is that about right? Let's have a look here. Point to point. Come on. Boom. Boom. And so we say there, yep, 53 miles. So, okay. Kerry's lost out a little bit. So Kerry's now effectively 10 hours behind Renault if you're averaging 5 knots. So, some interesting tactics going on here. Interesting that Josh is rocketing up there. He's really concentrating now. So, let's have a look at a few things. We'll check the current first. I think there seems to be, but we may be wrong. That's new. Here we go. Yeah, a bit of average current there. That's probably half a knot, but that still adds, if it is half a knot, that's 12 miles a day. Renault has been in it, and Dan's been in it for a long time. Kerry's lucked out. If you say 12 miles a day for the last 2 days, or that'd be day and a bit, that's another reason why Kerry's missed out at the moment. If they're watching their current, there's a few advantages to come up there. There's a current stream coming across here, which will probably sit there. So Renault might be looking to stay in this current. He probably watches this and think that's a good idea. Kerry's headed that way. Dan might be going under this one. That's a current, but I think the wind is going to be the predominant factor on this. But let's have a look. We'll go back to wind. Okay, that reminds me, there's a new YB. See, this is invisible now under the names. I don't know whether you're seeing that. Maybe they're playing around with it. Maybe it's not working properly. Anyway, we're now going to look at the weather. It's getting a bit interesting here because you've got a northeasterly here, a southerly here, an area of no wind there. And if you've been following the weather, what's that suggesting? That's immediately suggesting thunderstorms, squalls, very unstable weather. It should show up in the cloud pattern. Let's see. Yep, there it is there. There's the cloud pattern going through this whole area. So this is an area of pretty obvious instability. and temperature gradients will change, and so it's going to be a rough ride. But they're going to go over the top of that, so it's not such an issue. And that looks pretty consistent, so that's cool. And I'm not sure where that's going to go. It could go southeast, this area of no wind. So we'll now just push that through, give it every few hours. It's going east, so yeah, not a lot of not a lot of huge advantage there, but it's possibly happening. I'll pick this up to that size and hopefully kick it through still. So we're now 3, 4, yeah, really light. And there is a little bit more up there. They just want to, those that are going north, like Renault at the moment, are just trying to stay away from this, but it's not going to hold very long by the look. And it's just a little bit more up the top. You see that? It's rolling across, and then it's really, what I'm seeing is, yes, it's softer down here, a little bit more up there, but you're still sailing away from the mark. So Dan might be okay with this. Like, I'm not seeing a huge advantage there. Maybe there's something I haven't seen in the future. But there we go, the first day, and it's back in, and yeah, I reckon it's borderline. Would have I gone north? I don't know. Are these guys who's doing it right and who's doing it wrong? No one. They're all okay. I think Josh is a bit radical with his climb north there, but might lose a mile or so. But who knows? Then it starts to fill in, kicks in there. By the 5th of August, they'll be. If we look back at this, I think they're on a roll. Then we saw this previously. We'll look at a bit of a long range forecast here, just to see what's going on. So there's the 5th. So that's a couple of days from now, 200 miles. Then I think we're going to get a pretty much trade winds all the way southeasterly, a reasonably good one through the 8th. Then it goes a bit quiet. So by the 8th, it's now the 3rd. So it's 5 days. It's about 500 miles ahead. So about 500 miles ahead. There's 3, 4, 5. They got nice sailing, fantastic. I think they can all relax for the next week. They can kick back, listen to music, cook good food, drive hard, start to contemplate the challenge of the Barrier Reef and so on. But it's certainly great sailing. It's a good part of the world to be. And after the next 24 hours, there's some tactical stuff going on for the next 24 hours, maybe a little bit longer. But after that, it's another trade wind blast, just pure boat speed to see exactly what's going on. All good. Okay, so we're done with that. I don't think it's worth looking at the leaderboard. You can see where everyone is. That's pretty self-explanatory. We didn't look at what's going to happen to. Here's a look at what's going to happen to Christian. He's still heading south. He's headed. When I say heading south, he's gone south of west, right? And the run line is basically west at northwest for him to get up there that high. If we kick it back here, and he's going to have continually light weather, so you're going to see him. I think you'll see Christian continue to fall back day after day. He'll slowly slow down, and he might be, losing out over the next week. But that's sailing. Okay. So let's go over here and see what we've got here. First of all, what was that picture about? Huge green flash last night. Jane was filming it, but it didn't have it zoomed in quite far enough. We just went down for a walk, watched sunset, this, that, and the other. Had some locals out there fishing just on the edge of the reef, on the drop-off of the reef. This is just where we had the bonfire, if you saw that. And the sun came down over a gap between the islands. And bingo, it was a really big one. Went for about a second and a half, I reckon, just for the sake of the exercise. And Dan's boat dried out. I put all his ropes and sails back into his boat, which is kind of cool. Hang on. Oh, here's Dan's boat here. And he's still snug. We showed you this picture before. So he's quite happy to be there. So where are we at with the situation with boats for sale? And it's really interesting, before we get on to questions and stuff, that there is a huge undercurrent now. In my mind, I know of about probably probably 12 people that I've actively been talking to that are all waiting to buy boats. I've got another guy that wants to, and if he's watching this, sorry, I'll get back to you. I'm talking to a couple of the agents about building boat. We've got a couple of people that are they're what would you say? They're not keen to build a boat, but they want to get a new boat, and they want a builder to build that boat for them. So if you're a professional boat builder watching this and you want to build a 580, better get onto me quick, because there's a couple of people are looking for someone to build a boat for them, and that'll happen as well. So the story with the boats that are going to come on the market, I've got to tell you what I call a shocking story. Right, you may remember about 2 or 3 years ago we displayed a boat at the Southampton Boat Show. It was one of the best boats I've ever seen built. Right, it was just stunning. The paint job was stunning. Had a huge amount of electronics. It was just fantastic. The builder launched it, sailed it locally, had a great time. Had never had an ambition to do the Transat or the Mini Globe race. He just wanted to build the boat, and it was stunning. And he enjoyed club racing to the extent that he finished with the boat and he wanted to get a slightly bigger boat and go a bit faster. And all of a sudden he said, I like this racing. And so he put it up for sale. And I sort of was vaguely aware of it, but I never really followed it because we were really busy. And the short story, I'll compress this. It's one of the best boats I've ever seen built. When I heard about it, the asking price on that boat was £22,000, I think it was, with a brand new trailer, all the sails, all the electronics. There was probably 10 grand's worth of electronics on the boat. It was immaculate, right? And the reason that it all of a sudden got to 24,000 or 22,000 or whatever it was because the owner just wanted to roll over, and no one really in the 580 community had heard about it. He put it with a broker, and the broker was selling it as a little boat, not as an amazing 580. And I immediately contacted 2 people that were keen to do the Mini Globe race, and I said, here's your buy-in, right? You can buy it now for 22 grand or whatever it is. And it was just a crazy price. If I had the cash, I would have bought it, but our cash flows go up and down like crazy, and I just been doing a few other things. I couldn't buy it. I would have bought it just to hold it, to make sure I gave it to someone that wanted to do the MGR, this edition of the MGR. But I couldn't get it. In the end, those 2 were really keen, but it's a big commitment to go all of a sudden. It didn't happen. The boat sold for less than the price I just said. And we don't want to see that sort of thing happen again, because it would have been worth, in my opinion, that boat was worth every cent of €50,000. Okay. And so we're talking about this, and I often come back to the analogy of the guys that are rowing across the Atlantic in their rowboats. And there's some amazing rowboats built in carbon fibre, this, that, and the other. And one of the things that happens is they have one central site, and most of the boats are listed on that site. So anyone that wants to know about selling their boat, buying a rowboat, can go to that site and make it happen. So I think you're going to see in the next month or so, we will probably legislate under the class rules, or call it what you like, that any boats that want to remain class approved, you're going to have to at least list. Still on track? Oh, no. Sorry. There we go. Sorry. Okay. We'll probably make a central listing of all the boats. So as soon as a boat's for sale, it's going to be listed in one central place. So you'll be able to go to the Class Globe 580 website, and you'll see all of the boats sitting there. And you'll see the base details of what's going on and see what the asking price is, okay? And we're trying to address, we discussed this as a group, I've spoken to the entrants here on the MGR, trying to discuss a way to, what'll happen is I get a very good impression of what a boat is worth, right? Because we see them all, and we understand the equipment they've got and what's happening in the area that it's in, because some, the potential buying market is bigger than the others, and so we will advise the owners on what they should be asking for. And we've done this with one boat recently, where we said, look, I think you should be asking X, and I think you'll probably get Y when you sell it, but don't just let it go. And we're going to do everything we can to encourage people not to just give their boat away, because there's a huge investment going on, and you'll see, now we say in Europe, if you want to build one, it's about 35 grand in materials. It's probably gone up now because we've been saying that for about 9 months. Probably 37,000 in materials and bits and pieces to build the boat. And then if you want to do the MGR, you've probably got about 15,000 of extra bits and pieces. Maybe that's gone up a bit, 16,000, something like that. So you're getting up somewhere between 50 and 60,000 euro to get your boat ready to go. It's a major investment, and it's not your average 19-foot little plywood boat to sail around the harbour, and there's going to be a big shift to try and keep the values realistically where they are, because to sell a boat that's you've done the MGR for less than the cost of building it for materials, not including your labour, is, to my way of thinking, unfortunate. And so we will be encouraging all owners to go there. Now, there's quite a few of the boats that are sailing now in the MGR are going to be for sale, okay? And it's going to be, there's currently, I would say there's more people out there ready to buy than boats that are going to be available. So anyway, I digress, but that's what we're going to try and do, somehow make a central point. We're not a broker. We're not getting involved with commissions and selling the boats and things like that, but we just want to try and, promote the value of what the second-hand boats are. Okay, so Kyle, looks like Renault is breaking the tactical stalemate with Dan. Yep, cool. That's part of the deal. And maybe or maybe not, Dan saw him break away there, but as I just said, maybe Dan could do okay out of this. They might not need to go up there. So, G'day, there are any requirements for entering the races, first aid, safety at sea, etc. Oh, a massive amount. You've got to, you've got to have your survival training, you've got to have all your radio licenses, and you've got to do medical examination, you've got to do your navigation, make sure it's celestial navigator. We're going to be a lot more strict on that now. With this one, we let entrants join that had no idea. Some of them never even picked up a sextant, but we put the pressure on from the time they got to Lagos. We set deadlines and commitments, and they all met it, but we're not going to do that again. If you don't do your qualifier and have your celestial navigation approved by us, and just prove that you can do it, you won't be in the race. You won't make it past the starting gate. So, first you got to have a first aid, a medical examination, survival, all sorts of stuff. It's all in the notice of race, and we're hoping to get the new notice of race out later. Tracking, deserve all the credit for this race. The entries do good. Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, it's good fun. In fact, I had a great conversation last night with a chap who's thinking about resurrecting the Round Australia race. One of the first big events we did was in 1988, the Round Australia race, and I've been sort of not encouraging people to try and get it up again. It should be redone, and it'll be exciting if it is, because there's never been another Round Australia race. A few people have tried, but they failed because they tried to change too many things, and you've got to keep events simple and blah, blah, blah. And as you know, Jane and I, and we have Jane, me, Rob, Georgie, and a few volunteers come in at different times to run the event, and our other events as well. It's not rocket science how to do it on a lower budget. Let's keep it simple. And that's what we talked about with this guy last night, about the Round Australia race coming back again on the 40th anniversary. So hopefully he does. But thanks, Jonathan. We have a unique style. Things always go wrong, with this stuff, pressing the wrong buttons and things. But anyway, it happens, and I'm glad you enjoy it. So it's not for everyone, but we all have fun. G'day, it's a course, not a rum line. I talk about the rum line being the line that's just going, that red line, right? That's just an average rum line going from start to finish, and they can go on their course anywhere, so, but you're right, there's various terms. One of the big ones that I always get off on is when people are heading somewhere, they're not going anywhere, they're bound for it, they might not get there. So whenever you say, they're going from Fiji to Thursday Island, that's not correct. They're sailing, or they're bound for Thursday Island, because they may not get there. Too many things going on. So yes, lots of nautical terms and names and bits and pieces. Kyle, you're still on the tracker. Yeah, sorry about that. Like and share, guys. Like and share. Yeah, thanks for that. That's really important. We still want to get the word out there, but more and more people are watching, so that's cool. Tiff and Shafts, yeah, I've seen that. List boats for sale. The 580's would complement some of the Amokas, certainly a bargain. I'm not sure compliment the Amokas. Tip and Shaft are great. They're very interested in what's going on here. They don't put us up very often, but when there's something, that we get it in the snippets. But they really they run a film festival type arrangement every year. And their next one's coming up in January or something. And they've contacted us and said, oh, look, we really want to get something on the 580 on the MGR to put in this little film festival. So we're looking at that. I said it's got the deadline cutoff is December, so it'll only be up to Cape Town, but we're looking at producing something for that as well. Tip and Shaft is amazing. If you've never followed it, if you're into sailing, you want to subscribe to it. It's the best interviews you're likely to see on all the subjects. They really dig deep. It's straightforward. There's only a couple of main subjects every Friday. It comes out every Friday in France, and it's fantastic. I've been following that for many, many years, and it's worth subscribing, called Tip and Shaft. Okay, please explain how Thursday Island and Darwin are the same. Okay, that gets a little bit complicated, but I'll give you a simple story. When we say the same, you can imagine boats arriving at Thursday Island. They're going to sail straight from Thursday Island across to Cocos Keeling. Okay, so imagine a straight line across the top of the page, right? Those that are sailing past Thursday Island, the first thing that happens is they don't dip down to get into Thursday Island. They keep going, so they're going to pick up a little bit there. But when they come across the top, at some point, those going to Darwin are going to have to divert from the rum line or the course and head southwest down to Darwin. And when they do that, they're going to be faced with pretty solid tidal currents, and they could gain or lose on that issue. And then they're going to have wind shadows, right? They're still sailing down to Darwin. And then when they get down to Darwin, they've got to get into the main harbour of Darwin, and that's going to take them about a day or so. It could take them from 1 to 2 days just to do that bit going into Darwin, depending on the weather forecast at the time. So then they have their stopover in Darwin, which is a 8-day stopover, if I remember rightly. Okay. And then when they leave Darwin, they've got the same issue. You can come out of Darwin and you can just park for a day or a day and a half with no wind, because there's a big wind shadow there. So it could take them anywhere from half a day to a day and a half to get back on track and head towards Cocos Keeling. So, and those that went across the top have got none of that. So those that stopped Thursday Island are going to go faster. The Thursday Island stopover is only 5 days. So it's 3 days shorter than, I've got to check these numbers, but if you imagine this, it's 3 days shorter than an 8-day stopover in Darwin. So they've got less time stopped. When they get to Cocos Keeling, those 3 days are taken up by making the Thursday Island boats stop for an extra 3 days to start with in Cocos Keeling. And then the guys going down to Darwin, we give them 2 free days, right, to try and get in and out on the water. And what we do, and then they stop for the extra days in Darwin, we compensate for all of those issues, the extra day's timing and the less stop at Thursday Island and so on. So when they get to the Cocos, the Darwin guys only get 6 days in, I think it is 6 days in Cocos, whereas the others have got 10 days. So that's 4 days. So it all works out, all balanced up. I'd have to check the exact numbers. I forget now. I've got so many things in my brain. But you can see when they get to Cocos, it balances out. But the Darwin guys only get 2 days off the normal rum line or the course, right, to dip down to Darwin and then get back on track. Can they do it? If they get perfect weather, they might actually have a competitive advantage on the water and get in and out in a day and a half. So they get a free half day, right? But it's less than 20% probability. So those going to Darwin, it's more than likely they will divert off the normal course from Thursday Island sailors in and out of Darwin. It's going to take them a lot more than 2 days. So they'll probably lose out on the water. And it was very frustrating. It's the only place in the whole course where you get an option to go one point to the other. and we wouldn't normally do it, but there was at one point we had like 9 of the entrants wanted to go Darwin, and then after we make the news and we announce it, people saying, "Oh, hang on a minute, we've changed our mind, we're not going there," and blah blah blah. So I've got no idea how many going to Darwin or how many going to Thursday Island. It'll sort itself out, and the key element there is once they leave Cocos Keeling, they're basically back onto the normal situation. So and they'll all be on the water at the same time. So that's how it works. And that answers Rachel's questions there as well. And in Thursday Island, they've got everything. They've got a Mitre 10 store there. They've got all the. They can get supplies if they need them, but most have stocked up with food to go for the next. Go to the next. Probably because Cocos is the same. Cocos, you can get everything in Cocos. They've got 2 flights a week, but super expensive. You pay probably 3 times the normal price for a lot of stuff. So most of them are stocked up for about 2.5 months or more to get them pretty much all the way through to Mauritius. So the boats were heavy when they left. Fiji here, left Buda Marina. But those that are going to Darwin or committed to go to Darwin, got friends going up there to see them and stuff. They'll get their resupply in Darwin. Rodrigo, I believe no one will go to Darwin. Let's wait and see. A couple are. They've got friends coming up, so it's a tricky and lost time is certain. Yeah, absolutely. But we tried to look at. We didn't want to give. Well, it's impossible to say. We figured we'll give them 2 days on the water to get in and out, but it's highly likely it's going to cost more time than that. Anyway, that's about it. So thanks for watching again. I'm not going to go out with the. I'm going to try the video thing. It might work, but if it doesn't work, it goes black screen. So be it. So we'll see you tomorrow. So have a great weekend, and good to see the fleet having a great time. See you later. No, it's not even starting now. Can't get it to start. Okay, I'm just going to sign off. See you later.